Purpose statement. Our purpose is to create a spiritual community that recognizes that there is one presence and one power in the universe, God. Daily, we actively practice this spiritual truth. We open our heart space to each person to acknowledge one another as expressions of God. It is in each other that we see God.
May our hearts be open. 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 May our hearts be open.
Good morning. God, we welcome you among us today as we celebrate this gift of love you've given us. We gather in your presence today with open hearts and minds. Bless this time of worship with your grace and your spirit. Open our hearts and minds as we receive today's message.
$525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments, oh dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in strife. In 525,600 minutes, how do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Measuring love. Seasons of love. Seasons of love.
525,600 minutes, 525,000 journeys to the land, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure the life of a woman or a man?
Truths that she learned, or in times that he cried, in bridges he burned, or the way that she died.
It's time now to sing out, though the
comes from the heart, reaches the heart. Good morning and welcome to our Heartstream for this Sunday, September the 17th. I'm so glad that you have joined us for this morning's Heartstream. I'm always saying thank you for all that you do, but I mean it sincerely from my heart that we would not be able to continue to be the spiritual community that we are were it not for you, each and every one of you, in the ways in which you support us, whether it's financially, whether your support comes in the form of your just being here and commenting, the text messages and the other messages that I get that are supportive and encouraging, the opportunities that you provide, and the ways in which you participate, our voices from the heart, the people who provide our affirmative readings and our evocations and the messages and all of that go up to make this Heartstream possible. I'm always grateful and thankful, sincere gratitude, each and every one of you. Today is the day. Today, our own Angela Sargent has her photo exhibition at 2 p.m. at the Crosstown Concourse Community Room, where she will talk about it and provide us with I'm sure there's going to be a quite wonderful opportunity to find about her experience as she spent time in Egypt last year. She calls this her love letter to Egypt, her love letter to you. And I'm excited about it. I look forward to seeing it and hope that you will also join us on today. Secondly, we know that we have coming up on next Sunday, a couple of things happening. First, we have our special guest speaker on that morning at 10 a.m., Rumsa, who is from Golden Heart Spiritual Center, who will be our speaker. And we look forward to having Patty. We know Patty spoke for us in the past. I think did a wonderful job, and I'm looking forward to hearing her again. Also, on that Sunday, I will be speaking at Unity Christian Church on McCorkle Road in Whitehaven at 11 a.m. for their morning service. And then that afternoon at 2 p.m. at the Haven 662 Minor Road near the University of Memphis, we will have our fourth Sunday fellowship. And this again is an opportunity for us as the Open Heart Spiritual Center community to come together in person. It's informal. It's an opportunity. We will have some activities again. We will have some meditation. We will have some prayer time. I will probably offer a few words, but it's just an opportunity to see one another, fellowship with one another, and to just be together. And it's quite informal. I keep having people asking me about certain aspects of it, and it is not necessarily the way in which we used to have our celebration, but here the key word is informal. It's an opportunity just to get together without a lot of programming, but to enjoy the time together. And I would dare say that it has become a sacred time for us. And it's been a great opportunity, so I hope to see you there. Thank you again for all of your support. And I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you.
Our theme for the month of September, handle with prayer. Every prayer I speak is answered. I know that prayer works for me every time, all the time. I live my life as answered prayer, and so it is.
Today is a day like no other day. Just think and you'll know that it's true. Days like today should be holidays. So I'm singing this message to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just have a happy day.
keep your head to the sky. You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. Be optimistic. You will always do your best. If you learn to never say never, you may be down, but you're not out. Don't give up and don't give in. Although it seems you never win, you will always pass the test as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win, yes, as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win, yes, as long as you keep your head to the sky. Be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic.
Most people are not free. Instead, they live in reaction to events of the past and present, as well as events they project into the future. We react because we have been conditioned to do so. If we don't begin to question our conditioning, our reactionary habit patterns will remain lifelong companions. When we choose to remain in ignorance, we become a walking reaction to the circumstances in our life. We imagine that we are taking action, when in truth, we are in a mode of reaction. Reactions are unconscious patterns of behavior, be they directed at someone who pushes our buttons, something we hear on the news, the irresponsible driver who's texting in the car in front of us, or the grocery store that just ran out of our favorite veggie burger. Your willingness to get clear on where you stand in the reaction-action continuum within your life structures is the liberating key.
Once again, it's time for our announcements. Hope you will find out more about what's happening with our spiritual center. We're so glad that you have joined us today. At Open Heart, we believe in the power of affirmative prayer. Each and every individual and family you see represented here, we continue to pray for you. Our prayer team each morning remembers you, and we hold the space for you, as well as all of you who are a part of our Open Heart family. There are several ways to give to Open Heart: through our Cash App at OHSC 901, online at OHSC901.com, or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4292. Coming very soon will be our Lessons from the Heart, where it will be an opportunity for you to learn more about our principles and the practices that we use here at Open Heart through video lessons that you'll be able to access at any time. Look forward to this learning opportunity for each and every one of you. Begin or continue your day with prayer through our daily affirmative prayer call every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, 901-586-8755. The Memphis Area Women's Council, of which our own Judy Carter is a board member, presents its 12th annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, the Men's March to Stop Rape, Sexual Assault, and Gender Violence, on Tuesday, September the 19th at the University of Memphis, and meet in front of the Ramses II statue on Central. Registration begins at 4 p.m. and the rally at 5:15 and the walk at 5:30. Pre-registration is available at memphiswomen.org. It's $15, $10 for students, and U of M students are free with ID. The first 250 people to register will get a t-shirt. Judy says that there are shoes available, but you don't have to walk in high heels if you don't want to. But if you choose to, there are plenty of large sizes that will be available for you. So let's support this activity to stop rape, sexual assault, and gender violence. Join Angela Sargent on Sunday, September the 17th at the Crosstown Concourse in the community room beginning at 2 p.m. for Dear Egypt, her love letter to you, a photographic exhibit of the journey to and through Egypt experienced by Miss Angela. We look forward to seeing you there. On Sunday, September the 24th, our special guest speaker will be the Reverend Patty Rumza. During our Heartstream, you may remember Reverend Patty from before. The last time she was to speak for us, there were some things that happened, and we wanted to invite her back so that she can share her wonderful message with us again. We look forward to Patty sharing with us. On next Sunday, June the 24th, I will be the guest speaker at Unity Christian Church on McCorkle Road in Whitehaven as we continue to help our sister church in their time of transition of ministers. Join us on Sunday, September the 24th at 2 p.m. at The Haven at 662 Minor Road for our fourth Sunday fellowship. It's a time for meditation, prayer, spiritual activities, and the opportunity to see one another in person. Hope to see you there.
You've got a friend in me. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. Ooh, 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 through a party, invited everyone you should do. You'll see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being. Card attached would say, thank you for being. Card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. Keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. For good times and bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Ooh, oh, you got a friend in me.
It's prayer time. So I have talked these past several weeks about really the processes and the things to lead up to prayer. In the first week, I talked about the philosophy of prayer, meaning our approach to God, our understanding of God, as being benevolent, beneficent, not being a whimsical God, not being a God that we have to storm the gates of heaven to try and get to see our point of view or to answer things in the way that we think they ought to be. I also talked about the fact that when we look at prayer, how prayer ultimately is a process of communication and connection, and even, if you will, a meditative kind of way of being in communion with God and all of that. But I also acknowledge the fact, because I know that we also look to prayer as being something that we use when there are needs and desires and wants and emergencies and whatever else, or even when there's times in our lives when we just want to express gratitude and be thankful and to be grateful. And all of that leads me to this point where I'm going to talk this morning about more of the mechanics of prayer. And to start out by saying that in our particular teaching, New Thought, Ancient Wisdom, one of the things that we do is that we say prayer has we use a special term for prayer. It's very often been used in religious science or science of mind that's called spiritual mind treatment. And spiritual mind treatment is about the fact that what we are doing is we are conditioning our minds, we are treating our minds to the reality that what it is that we are setting forth as a purpose, what it is that we are setting forth as a desire for our prayers. Number one, it's already done in the mind of God. So there's not convincing God to do anything. There's not pleading to God to do anything, but it's really bringing in our minds, bringing your thoughts to bear that that reality already is, and that we can do what is needed, do what is necessary in order for it to manifest in our life. So I want to make that clear in the beginning, that that's what spiritual mind treatment is about. That's what prayer is used interchangeably very often. But that's what those things are. And that's what the particular perspective that I'm using this morning to bring about understanding of prayer. And as I said all along on this journey, it will be different from what some of you may be used to or from what some of you know. So, and actually, in spiritual mind treatment, there are 5 steps, 5 stages of spiritual mind treatment. But I'm going to put those out there for you just a moment, just kind of helping you to understand that. But then I'm going to say something about all of that. The first stage is the recognition stage, and that is where we recognize all that God is. We talk about, you put out there the qualities of God and the ideas about God, all of the positive aspects of God in the recognition stage. The second stage, number 2, is the unification stage, where we acknowledge and claim that all that we say is true about God is also true about ourselves. For example, if we say that God is loving and God is patient and God is kind, then we would also say that I am patient, I am loving, I am kind. But that is the unification stage that we are doing at that point. The third stage, the third step, is the realization stage. And this is the important stage, because here, this is where we are actually stating what it is that we see and what it is that we are visualizing and what it is that we are placing into what we call the creative medium. And I was going to say, before I started talking about the stages, it's very important to have a clear purpose in mind. And you can see that there's been a progression of that idea for several months now. Having a clear purpose, a clear idea in mind for what it is that we wish to have manifest in our lives. And it has to be in a positive way. And it's not that we go and start talking about the ailments that we have or the problems that we have or the trouble that's in our life or anything like that. It's really about understanding that we are declaring what it is that we wish to have manifest and come forth in our lives. So if you are experiencing physical symptoms, physical condition, rather than bringing those into prayer, we are bringing in the thing that we would like to see happen. If it is a knee that is hurting and it is bothering me, rather than talking about this knee that's hurting and bothering me, we are really talking about the fact that I see myself free of pain. I see myself with a knee that is functioning perfectly and functioning well, and a need that brings me the opportunities to experience the things that it is that I wish to experience. All of those things which are a positive way in terms of praying. And then the fourth step, which is also important, is the Thanksgiving step, the Thanksgiving stage. After we have declared our purpose and what it is in that realization stage that we wish to have happen in our lives, giving thanks, knowing that it's done, being thankful that it's done, knowing that it's happening for us already. And then finally, the fifth stage, which is the release stage, where we let it go. We say that it's already done in the mind of God, in the creative medium, love, intelligence of the universe, or however, and I release this word and it's done. And then we know that it's done. Now, I said that I was going to talk a little bit more about those 5 steps because I know that can oftentimes for people be somewhat strange for people to talk about and try to have in their mind 5 steps. I really like to sort of condense that into 3. And the first, I would say, would be a combination of the first 2 steps, the recognition stage and the unification stage, in which declaring those things that we know about God and those things that we know for ourselves, which are an important part of what it is that we do in this concept and in this way of praying. And as we do, knowing again, it's our approach to God, how we approach God, not as a beggar, not as someone who is hoping to, spin the lottery, spin the wheel and get something to pop up, but approach with confidence, approach with assurance, knowing that because we are God in expression and that we are also fearfully and wonderfully made, as the psalmist reminds us, that it is taking that awareness, that knowing into perspective and using that in this process, that as we bring things forth and bring things forward, that is all happening, that is all as a part of the process as we move forward in prayer. And then the second step goes to that realization stage, where really this is the clear point. This is the part in which we go forth and we establish in our minds, we see what it is that we wish to have happen in our lives, we visualize it, we more importantly, not only do we visualize it, but we feel it. We feel it happening. We feel what it would be like as this has already manifested. So Ernest Holmes calls it fire in the belly. We feel that fire in that belly, the conviction that it's done, and that conviction that it's done, that is happening, even if it hasn't manifested yet, even if we can't see it yet, even if it feels like it's almost impossible. We hold that faith. We hold that energy. We hold that knowing and in that believing. And then the final last 2 stages, I would also like to combine there as well. The Thanksgiving stage, where we see that, we know that it's done. We feel that we've done our work. We're ready to release it, and we release it. And as we release it, it is done. It is happened. Even though we can't see it yet, we know that it has happened. And as a part of that, we feel thankful and grateful and express this gratitude to the universe, express this gratitude to God, and then we release. And the release part, and those of you who have heard me before when I talk about prayer, a part of the release part, I always like to use this illustration of playing basketball. I'm not the best basketball player. I never was. I would play for fun with friends, but never really was a great basketball player. I was a decent basketball player. But there were times when I would play and I would have the ball and I would shoot my shot. And there was something in me when I released the ball that let me know, even though the ball was just leaving my hands, that for sure was going in the basket. As a matter of fact, I would I'd talk about those times where I would shoot the ball, I would release the ball, and I would turn and start running down court, not even bothering to look, just listening to hear the flap of the net as the ball goes through the net, because there was something inside of me that was so certain, that was so sure that it was going to be all net. And then I just let it go and went about my business. And that's what the Thanksgiving and release stage is when we talk about prayer. Understanding this, that as we continue to do our prayer work, as we continue to do our meditation, and we do all of the things that are involved there, we understand just how vitally important that is as a part of our prayer life. But as we do those things and have this connection and this communication with the divine, with God, things happen for us. And thinking again back to the Thanksgiving stage, I can remember years ago when my father, Bishop Marshall Gilmore, after I had established Open Heart, and he invited me back to his annual conference there when he was a presiding bishop in Texas. And one of the things that I talked about in that particular sermon was about thank you in advance, if you will. And the idea that when I looked at some of the prayers of Jesus as they were recorded, that one of the things that always, even before it happened, he would express thanks. He would give thanks. I could think about when the story about him with the 2 fish and the 5 loaves of bread, and the raising Lazarus from the dead, and all of those things there before it even happened, giving thanks. And I like to think having that certainty that had already happened and his mind, and knowing it was done in the mind of God. And so that is a part of this process of prayer. But this is an understanding, this is a way, this is an approach that I use, an approach that I like to teach as a part of Open Hearts teachings, our New Thought, Ancient Wisdom, awareness, and understanding. So here today is, as I said at the beginning, the title of this message, it's prayer time. And I urge you to take the opportunity to watch this again, to listen to this again, to take the opportunity on your own prayer life, to use those stages, to use those steps so that you bring about the things that it is that you would like to do. And I see a fish has made this presence known here. So I guess it likes what it is that I'm saying, and I hope that you will as well. Peace and abundant blessings. Amen and Ashe.
I thank you for being so real and touching me, letting me see what a beautiful world this world is. And I thank you for all that's revealed. Well, you're changing me and opening my time, blinded eyes to see my glorious possibilities. I like this song. Oh, and I pray for strength to keep seeing just